Okay, hi Banita. Welcome to Brit Asia. Congratulations on the film. It's been amazing. It's released on Saturday, and it's got rave reviews. Sardar Udham Singh, and it's got a 9.2 rating on IMDb. How does it feel to be part of such a phenomenal film?
It's really gratifying, if I'm being honest, and I'm just so proud of what the team has done, and I know how hard they've worked for this. So to see them, get the love that they deserve is just really wonderful to see.
I watched the film and I was blown away with the script, but also the cinematography.
Yeah.
It was unlike anything for me that I've seen in Indian cinema. It wasn't loud and brash. It was a lot more subtle and nuanced. Is that what interested you in taking this role?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the kind of cinema I gravitate towards. And, working with Shoojit, so I always know we're going to end up making a great film together. And in particular, like poetic films together is tended to be our niche. And the great thing with Rising Sun is it's always the same team. So I feel like, I'm coming back to a family. We have the same cinematographer, Vita who did this movie, and I genuinely think I always knew he was amazing, but he just exceeded my expectation in this. And I think the cinematography in this movie is one of the strongest points, and I think one of the best visually appealing films I've seen in India in a really long time.
And this film, it obviously has very deep social and political roots. How do you prepare yourself for a film like that, and how is it different to the other films you've done previously?
I think because my job was playing Reshma, and she was kind of like a poetic element in the film. I think Shoojit took some creative liberty with my character, so I didn't have the pressure of playing someone who is historically written about and is real, like Vicky or Amol did, for example. But having said that, when we were doing the scene with the massacre, that was, as a Punjabi as well, knowing what my ancestors went through, my grandparents and my great grandparents during that time, it was very difficult to relive because the sets were so grand and it genuinely felt like we were there. And it felt so real, and seeing there were thousands of actors on set, and Vera Kapoor, our costume designer, did such an amazing job in dressing everyone that it felt so real. So having to kind of relive through that and knowing this actually happens on those grounds was quite traumatizing, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the film and the topic, it still has relevance today, because as it was cited at the end of the film, we've yet to receive an official apology for the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and we still face our own struggles at the moment, as like with the farmers' protests. How important a role do you think media plays in shining a light on our forgotten history and teaching people, not just the young, but for people of all ages?
I think it plays a huge role. And for example, I grew up in the UK, and I, in history class, learned everything about Britain. I learned World War II. I learned about the slave trade. I learned about, the IRA, but I never learned about colonial history, which is arguably the most important factor in British history and world history, period. It really explains why we live in the society we do, why culture is the way that it is. And, this, as Punjabi immigrant as well, not learning or having British people understand why our people are here or the history behind it is very hurtful. And then to see at the end of the movie that we still haven't received an official apology, it's probably because it was never talked about. It was never spoken about. And I don't even think a lot of British people knew what happened during that time. So to be able to tell this story and bring it to light, I hope eventually it will move towards action and we will receive an official apology for it.
And obviously this film released on Amazon Prime. And do you think the arrival of services like Amazon Prime and Netflix have shaken up this old studio system? And do you think we're able now to tell our story and our history, even if they sometimes might be controversial for some people? And do you think we're ushering in a new era of Indian cinema?
I definitely think we're going through somewhat of a renaissance in the industry now. And I think it was definitely, I knew it was already moving in that direction, but I think the pandemic kind of hastens the pace at which we were moving towards streaming. And I think one of the most wonderful things about streaming is it really brings access to everybody. It makes your films are able to reach a wider audience. you know, it just brings so much more reach to a movie, and especially a film like this, which has such political gravity, is something which, you know, we would want as filmmakers, is for the more people that see this movie, the better. So I think it's a wonderful thing, and I think it definitely brings a lot of creative opportunity to directors and to producers, because now it's not just about catering towards, you know, a cinematic audience. You now have other audiences that you can make films for. So I think that's really exciting.
And in your immediate future, do you see yourself still in Indian cinema? Do you think you'll cross over maybe into British drama and Hollywood films again with Amazon?
I think I'm at this point in my career doing both. You know, I love working in India. As everyone knows, it was something that took me by surprise, but it's something which I'm so proud to be a part of and to work with the filmmakers that I do. I believe Shoojit Sir is not just one of the best directors in India, but in the world. And I truly, truly am so grateful that I've been able to have him as a mentor since the beginning of my career. But at the same time, you know, I am British, and one thing I always want to fight for is representation on screen. Growing up, not seeing someone who looked like me was just, you know, debilitating, honestly. And I want to be able to provide that for, you know, young girls and boys of our culture and of different cultures, to see diversity on screen in actual substantial roles, not ornamental ones, is something which I think is so important for the mental health of our audiences. So I will continue to work in India and work with directors like Shoojit Sir, but I also will fight to have some presence in the West and do really progressive roles here, which I feel like we're only just starting to enter or yeah. Sorry. You can cut that little winding bit out at the end.
Yeah, because, you know, obviously us at Brit Asia, we cater to a younger demographic, and we're always getting questions from people how to enter the creative industry, how to enter the creative arts. So as someone who's done it successfully, what advice would you give to young British Asians who want to become actors?
I'm so sorry. Do you mind if I just quit WhatsApp because someone keeps messaging me?
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry, do you mind repeating your question?
I was going to say, because obviously we at Brit Asia, we cater to a younger demographic, and we are inundated with people asking us how to get into the creative industries, how to get into the creative arts. As someone who's done it successfully, what advice would you give to young British Asians on how to become actors?
I think the first thing is you need to work on your craft. I think a lot of people try to get into the industry for the wrong reasons. So you really need to question your integrity before, because it's a very difficult industry. And I will never, ever want to project to someone that it's all rosy and glory and that, you know, fame and like getting love from the audience and getting roles. And working on a film set is tough. It is physically grueling and mentally grueling, but you have to be passionate enough to be able to want to do that. And for me, I knew it since I was 11. And being on a film set is when I'm the most happiest, no matter how traumatizing or grueling or challenging a role is. So first, really sit down with yourself and think, is this something I want to do? Because it's not easy. And then from there, I would suggest, like in the UK, for example, the best thing you can do is get an agent. And then your agent will, on your behalf, put you forward for a lot of roles, and you will be auditioning a lot and you will get a lot of no's. And I think I've probably auditioned maybe like 800 times and heard back for maybe 10 projects. It's just the nature of the industry, and you have to be really, really thick-skinned. But if you love it as much as I do, it's all worth it in the end. So that would be my advice.
Banita, thank you for talking to us today. Everyone at Brit Asia is really proud, really excited all the work you've been doing. We wish you well, and please come back and speak to us again soon.
Definitely. Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
See you.
Bye.